right. Well, hello, guys. My name is Dalton Stevens. Welcome back into the 460 Street Racers Heroes and Legends podcast. Today, we are live at Combs Airport, and you can actually see me today. I know it's just the craziest thing in the world. Last time we didn't have a camera on me, but we had a ton of people, and probably like one person realistically that said, hey, man, we need to be able to see your ugly face, and here we are. So welcome in, everybody. You can see me. I'm wearing my Arm Drop Garage gear today. Sitting next to me here, we've got Mr. Andrew Reed. He is going to be producing the show today. And back here on the couch, you see a familiar face, Mr. Bainey Blair. Off to my right over here, you can't see Gina, but she is here. She can maybe put a hand up here and wave at us. All right, there you are. All right, fantastic. And guys, today we're sitting down once again with Kelly Conley, and we've got a new guest today, Mr. Beecher Frazier. And we're going to introduce Beecher here in just a second. I'm going to let Kelly talk to Beecher and try to let him explain exactly how he got involved with the 460 Street Racers back in the day. So we're going to start it off early on here. Kelly, just give us a little recap one time if you can for us. Just what did we talk about on our last podcast for people that didn't get a chance to tune in? What did we touch on? What was your favorite part of the last podcast that you talked about?
Well, I guess my favorite part was probably getting to talk about Easy's car, me getting outrun by him.
Oh, I didn't know you outrun him.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody had already left. And I walked up there and asked him why he didn't ever race, and he said he hadn't seen no competition. I said, well, won't you run me? Nobody will see it. Nobody will know about it. And he said, well, I'm getting ready to go home, and you can stay with me. We'll call it a race. And by jigs, he blowed my doors in. I wasn't even in the race.
Well,
probably easy. Yeah.
All right. Well, so easy enough, since we're back on Easy here.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we throw up another picture of Easy's car right there. Easy had an awesome-looking coupe. I didn't see it until after we had gotten all of our media in for the last podcast. But it was cool. It was a sweet ride, man.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't see your Camaro you talked about in the last podcast either. The one you got, Kelly.
I guess I probably need to get a photo for it. That way.
Well, now we got one of it, didn't we?
Yeah, it did. It's that rusty-looking, that primered.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Now, we've not seen it in all its glory. We just saw it back whenever it was garaged up, and it was, whenever I think you'd first gotten your hands on it, you and Wade and Kelly Shea were down there looking at it in that video.
Oh, the newer Camaro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get some pictures of
That's
it.
the one we need to look at. Those were awesome. All right. Well, Kelly, do us a favor here. Introduce Mr. Beecher to us here. Tell us about the first time you met Beecher and how you kind of got to know him.
Well, Beecher Frazier was always just a name that I had heard because my uncle, everybody knows him by Mousy Van Hoos. He was a drag racer, and as I was growing up, I'd always see him tuning and playing around with his cars. And one night he had a black, I think it was a 69 maybe Chevelle 396 4-speed car. And at that time, I don't think I was even 10 years old. He was going to a place called McLeod's. That was the drag racing spot at that time. And Beecher probably knows more about that spot than I ever do, but
we spent a lot of time there.
Anyway, I'd begged Mouse to let me go and watch. He kept telling me no, he couldn't take me. Well, one night he was getting ready to go, and I asked him, and he said, all right, get in here. But little did I know, he wasn't going to let me go up there where everybody was. He took me down where the finish line would be, and he put me out there in the ditch. He said, now you stay right here until I get back. Well, that was in the wee hours of the morning when he come back, but I got to lay right there in that ditch and watch every one of them cars come by, racing and carrying on. And that's probably when I really got the fever for drag racing real early, but I had always heard this name, Beecher Frazier. And then one day, lo and behold, I don't even remember where I was. I think it was maybe automotive supply or somewhere like that. I was getting some parts, and Mick said, Beecher, what'd you say you was a-needing? And I turned around, and this man was a-standing there. And they called him by his full name, Beecher Frazier, and that's it. I said, I know this guy. I've heard his name. And then knowed he was just a gearhead, and that's that's basically when it started. A long time ago.
So I may have missed it. What year did you say that was about?
That would have been probably in 80, 82, 83. I was driving. So probably around 82, 83. I'd always heard the name, but I'd never really met him.
Sure. Okay.
First thing I ever heard about you was that motorcycle with a bottle on
Oh, yeah.
it.
With a bottle on it?
Yeah.
What? Well, tell us about that now.
I don't know. That's all I'd heard. He's a pure idiot out there, they said. He'd outrun the law with that motorcycle. So I'd always heard of him. I'd never met him, so I finally got to meet him.
Now, what's he mean by it's got a bottle on it?
Well, once I got introduced to that nitrous,
That's right.
I had to have it on everything. I had it on four-wheelers, jet skis.
Four-wheelers?
Yes. Go-karts.
Must have it on Paula.
Maybe.
So the first time, Beecher, you had heard about Kelly Conley was he had a motorcycle with a bottle on it.
Yeah, and he'd outrun the law with it, and that's something that I had done previously. So I thought, man, I got to see who that is.
So then when you first met him, what was the first thing you thought?
I thought, there he is. And then first thing I knowed, he outrun me. So I thought, well, I've done it now. Because that's the first thing I'd ever run up against, really, that could just tear my doors off.
Right.
And he just played with me, and I didn't know what was going on.
It was just that button.
I'd never had the bottle, so
Without
I didn't
the
have
nitrous?
no idea what it done.
Without the nitrous, I couldn't have outrun him. He just had all muscle.
I had a pretty good old car.
Yes, he had a good car.
He was just strong.
Well, tell us about your car, Beecher.
I had an
don't
old
tease us
78
now.
Camaro I'd brought home from Classic Chevrolet down there. I'd bought into the place, and everybody. I went down there one day, and everybody was huddled up around this car that somebody was trading in. And I thought, what in the world's going on down there? And I walked down, and I seen it was on Z28. And I thought, give me the keys to that thing, boys. And I made them give me the keys to it, so they couldn't drive it off, and I wanted to drive it myself. And I went inside, and I come back out, and one of the salesmen said, I want to go with you. And that was a mistake. He tore the door handle. That door pulled off.
Yeah.
I'd run it up about 120 or 130 going out through there. And he said, did you see them tires on the front of this thing? I said, yep, it didn't bother me.
It still went.
Yeah, he pulled that door handle that you jerk the door together with.
Yeah.
He tore it from off the door. But it didn't bother me. I didn't care.
You was testing it out. You wanted to see what it was like.
I
huh?
wanted to find it out,
That's
buddy.
it. Now, Beecher, how did you first find out about the 460 Street Racers? How did you run up on this wild, rambunctious group of people?
Yeah, man, that boy of mine, he was probably he born in '73, so that was in '86 the first time I went out there, because I remember the date, because that's when I bought into Classic Chevrolet. So I just had heard that they raced out there on 460, and we went to Appleday, and I took that old car to Appleday in '86, and when I come back out through there, my boy said, hey, Dad, he said, why don't we go out to the radiator shop, see what's going on out there? So we went out to the radiator shop, and they had a black 55 Chevy out there, and he was real bad. So
Don Litton.
Don Litton was his name, and I thought, well, I'll try him around. But I didn't have positive traction, so I tried him anyway, and he smoked me like it wasn't nothing. And I went back the next night or next weekend or something, I had positive traction, and mine now outrun him.
So you showed him what's up next week, huh?
Uh-huh.
I said you went back and got it fixed for the next
Well,
week.
I done
huh?
it myself. I didn't have to get nobody to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You wanted to go back next week and show him who's boss, right?
I did.
There you go.
You know, he mentioned 86 there. On the last podcast, my nephew called me and straightened me out real quick. He said, Kelly, he said, you said you started in 83 and quit in 87. He said, I laid on the porch up there and watched his drag race. That couldn't have been right. I said, it was 97. I guess maybe this gray kicked in.
Must have.
I didn't get the numbers right, but it was from about 83 to 97 was when I was there. And then it kept on going after that, but I wasn't around when it was happening.
After that, okay. So 83 to 97, as you said, when you was around. So,
in there.
Yeah.
so then, Beecher, so you came along just right as it first kind of kicked up then, didn't you?
It was '86, like I said, when the race started out there, but it wasn't a real big thing back then. Kelly just had that old Bones had that grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grand National.
And I had got the Regal.
Yeah. Little
I
white
had
one.
got that white Regal. And, yeah, that was one of the cars after the Camaros and,
Okay.
and the IROC.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you still had the IROC whenever you first started out there.
Yep.
I just heard about it, so
I traded that yellow 69 or 68 Camaro. I traded it to the Regal off some boys over in Kermit.
Kermit, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, over at Kermit there. Guy that owned a Western Auto store had a Regal over there. Oh, we had got acquainted with that Craig and Keith Curry, them Regal boys,
Yep.
and that I'd talked about on the last one. They was the ones that put me on. When they come over and started out running us with that little 6-cylinder, I was like, wow, I got to have me one of them. So I said, where can I get me one of them? He said, we got a buddy over home that's got one. He probably trade for that Camaro you got. Bingo. I went. We traded. I was in.
Who's the one that had the muffler shop over there?
Muffler shop. I'm trying to think.
He brought a bad old car of some sort over there.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, he had a transmission shop.
His
Tim's.
transmission's like, well,
Tim's transmission.
Tim somebody, Tim.
Had an old tow truck. He towed that Nova around on the back of it. Everywhere we was racing, it didn't matter if we was racing down at Beecher's place. That's where Bainey got the car took by the law. Me and Bainey was racing down there. This is where we was racing at that night.
This is a whole new story now on that.
Yeah,
I just to put in a new convenient mart down there, and I was having a grand opening that night, and we probably had 200 cars on the lot. And here come Bainey and who was you going to run?
He run me.
Brad Martin was going to run too, wasn't
He was going to, but now it didn't ever happen
No.
after that.
he? Bainey pulled in. He come running in on my lot, just scooting in like everything, jumped out and took off running, and he jerked the hood up when he went to run back for some reason, and left the door hanging open. And they said, we're going to haul it in. And I walked up there and I shut the headlights off on it to where it wouldn't kill the battery. And he said, we're going to haul it in anyway. I said, don't have to take it with a dead battery, buddy. And somebody in the crowd, I don't know who had done it, threw one of them 20-ounce pop bottles in the air. And it come down and hit the state police right in the head. So it started then. That was the beginning of it all. And he was going to take everybody to jail. He couldn't find out who threw the pop bottle. I didn't know who threw it. Somebody threw it in there and it hit him. We had a good time, though. It was a good grand opening.
Well, now last time, one of our favorite stories that everybody talked about was Kelly's story with the law that he had talked about. So Beecher, you got any good run-ins with the law that you had, during your 460
They
years?
weren't good.
Well, looking back on them now, were they good?
Whenever I went to jail, they wasn't good.
So you actually went to jail now?
Well, of course.
Okay. Well, what put Beecher Frazier in jail the first time? Tell me about the first time with it.
Well, the first time, me and my wife got in a little bit of argument, and I thought somebody called the law on me. So I went down there where Conley Tower is.
Yeah.
It was Roger Tackage then, and I filled up the gas, and whenever I come back across the top of the hill, D-board was sitting there at the 460 drive-in, and I seen that Ford kick in gear, and I thought, I've had it. So I took off. I went up 172, and I got almost to State Highway Garage, and I thought, I'll get killed if I go this way. So I turned in Wade McKenzie's driveway and backed out, and I was just smoking them. I come back this way, and here come D-board around the corner sideways. It's locked it up. I come back down to 460 and went over there to talk to my mom, and he went north on 40 there, on 460, what back in, I guess, and went up there to Ben Tackage and asked Fred, have you seen Beecher? No. So he knowed hadn't gone that way.
Yeah.
So he come back down to the drive-in, he pulled in behind me, and whenever he pulled in behind me, I took off again. And we had the chase was on. I get too excited, I can't tell you the rest of it.
I was going to say, but it sounded like he finally caught up with you,
Oh, he
unfortunately.
come back to the drive-in. I went back to show my mother that I'd made it. She was a cooking there at the drive-in.
Yeah.
So I went back to show her I'd made it, and whenever he pulled in front of me that time to block me in, but I didn't. I was done anyway. So whenever he pulled in front of me, my 45 had been laying in the seat, and it bounced out of the seat and was laying over there on the floor. And I tried to reach over there and get it. Mom got me with the arm. She said, Lord, son, you don't want to use that on him. She, I was hyped up. She thought I'd probably shoot him or something.
Oh, well, Lord.
I was crazy. But I reached her the pistol so she could take it inside.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You didn't want to have a gun in you after you're doing all
I
that
sure
running.
didn't. But
feel
I
you.
went to jail, and when I got in his car that night, back then, he put me in the front seat and sit in the back seat.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep that night because I didn't stomp his hat. It had fell in the floor like my 45 had, and I couldn't sleep at night. I thought I ought to stomped his daggone hat. And he kept reaching in at me while I was sitting there, and I was mouthing him, and I asked him what happened to you down there at the intersection, because he run across the traffic island and had the awfulest time ever was. And he reached across there, and he kept going for something. And I kept trying to guard him off, and he was getting that little slapstick off his gear shift. And he got that little slapstick, and I thought, time to shut up. So I went to jail. My wife, they couldn't get me out of jail that night. I had to spend the night. So that was my first night in jail.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever have any run-ins with the law while you was racing at 460? Or were you one of the lucky ones?
Don't
Okay,
reckon.
you didn't have no issues because you had mentioned last time that you guys weren't really a rowdy bunch. You were pretty quiet
Yeah,
down
we
there.
was calm. We would just pull back in on the lot there, and
Right.
trouble was gone. We didn't do no more. They just shut up the other end of the quarter and sat there and waiting on us to act stupid and go run again.
But you boys never did. You just waited them out.
We just
Yeah,
waited
that's
them
all we
out.
done, just wait them out.
All right, guys, I want to make a quick note just one more time. We made this in the last one, and there's always a disclaimer at the end of the videos. Remember, this was the 80s and the 90s. We had a little bit more fun back then, according to these guys. They just wanted to have a good time, right? So we want to make sure that we stress one more time, do not do anything we talk about in this podcast today. We advocate explicitly against it. If you're going to come race, be sure to come down to an awesome place like Holmes Airport here with us at the Arm Drop Dragz. We're going to do a quick shameless plug here for the Arm Drop Dragz. Guys, it's here in a couple months coming up. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll probably be, 6-8 weeks or so out. What's the dates again, Gina? It's Memorial Day weekend, right? Labor Day weekend. I always get Memorial Day. Listen, guys, I'm 30 years old, and I've always gotten Memorial Day and Labor Day mixed up. It's Labor Day weekend. If don't pay attention to what I said before. It's Labor Day weekend. August 30th and 31st is what the dates are. I apologize. I should have had that written down here, but I didn't. So, once again, we advocate for you. If you're going to race, do it safely. Do it in the most controlled environment that you can. Make sure you come down here and do it at a place like Combs or any of your racetracks that are, well watched over. Try not to go over to 460. As fun as it would be to go back and do it again, we can't advocate for it. Okay. All right. So we've talked about running from the law. We've talked about, the first time Beecher got involved with the 460 Street Racers. So Beecher, we're going to touch a lot. We heard a lot of stories from Kelly last time. I want to tap into some of the stories you got, and we're going to bounce back to Kelly here in just a minute. But Beecher, tell me about. Did you keep the one car the entire time that you raced? I'm sure you probably. You
I
did.
just kept it sitting there at the house uncapped.
So you didn't race with any other cars down there other than that?
No, that's all I had then. I had my Nova, but I didn't never run it.
You didn't want to run it. I got you.
But,
Okay.
I never will forget this one night. Kelly called me and told me them boys was out there. I heard him talk about them Owens boys with them big bad Mopar cars.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly called me one night and said, "Hey, Beecher," he said, "them Owens boys out there wanting to race." I said, "I'll be right there." And I was putting a new surround in my bathtub. I just threw my tools in the tub and left, and they stayed there for a couple of weeks. I told my wife she could use my bathroom. So I just, that was more important than getting the bathtub fixed. I always like to do that. Just had fun, buddy.
So you just wanted to go down there and just have a good time,
Well,
huh?
yeah, we did clean fun, buddy. They wasn't nobody drinking on the lot, or I never did see anybody drinking on the lot. I never drunk a beer in my life, so I wanted to see that everybody done it right, and Kelly did too, I guess.
Oh,
But now, before all this, I had back in '71 and '2 and '3, I had the old speed shop out there where the dollar store is now at Staffordsville.
yeah.
And we'd go down to Bill McLeod's and run. And I I tried to keep things under control down there. I was one of them honorary deputy.
Honorary.
And I carried my 45 under my belt, and I stood at the finish line, and I told them who won. I held the money while they bet on. So if I told him he won, he won. And I was fair about it, I didn't crook nobody.
Right.
But we had a good time. It was clean, like I said. No drinking, no nothing like that going on. We picked up our garbage when we left. When I was out there at the radiator shop, that's one thing that Bob wanted us to take our garbage with us, didn't he? So we tried to, that's a good place to run, so we had to go with whatever he had to say.
Beecher raced around here at Davis Produce.
Yeah, around the curve here.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that now. I know this is the 460 Street Racers podcast, but what happened over here?
Well, this was back in '71 or '2, something like that,
Long
maybe
before-
'73.
We come along.
Yeah, and we'd start out here on this end, and we'd race northbound there, and when the law would come, they had them over and under headlights, them old Fords with the over and under headlights back then. And somebody pulled in one night out there with over and unders coming scooting in on the shoulder, and it won the law, but we didn't know it. So everybody took off running. And Mark Trimble, you remember Mark?
Yeah.
He went a running along this little old road back in there through them old shoemakes and stuff. It hadn't been cleaned up where that Homer parked all that equipment and stuff. And he went around back through there near the barbed wire fence and run right alongside that daggone little road. And son, the next thing I know, Mark Trimble was screaming like a hyena. He had run into that barbed wire, and it got his paint and tore him all to pieces going out through there. But we had fun anyway. Like I said, nobody drinking.
They had that sign at the end of the drag race, the strip.
If you've just been defeated, go to Beecher's.
Go to Beecher's. To your speed shop.
Yeah.
Now, where was your speed shop at? Now,
The junction of 172 and 40 back in.
Okay.
There, Staffordsville, where the dollar store is now.
Now, how many people actually came in to Beecher Speed Shop and said, "Hey, listen, I got smoked at 460. I need you to help me out"?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Nobody ever came.
I sold a lot of parts, but
There you go.
you know, it's like your friends. They'll stand behind you. They'll go to AutoZone or somewhere, whatever, nationwide over to Huntington and buy parts, give more for them over there than what they could have bought them off of me for. You know, your friends always stand by you.
Yeah.
But we had a good time.
Well, sorry here. Gina's want me to ask. I can't hear nothing with these headphones on, but it's the only way I can make sure I hear these boys good because we got an air conditioner running in here. By the way, guys, know that part of the reason why we do this podcast is we try to have a good time, okay? We're not in a professional studio by any means. Now, we got some cool equipment here, and it makes it sound pretty good, but it's also 87 degrees outside, 88 degrees outside, and we're sitting in an old decommissioned airport building. And if we don't have an air conditioner running here, it gets pretty toasty on us. So just remember that if you hear a little whir in the background. So sorry here. So Gina, tell me real quick here. What do you want me to ask now? Okay. Yeah. Sure. So I guess that is a good question there, Beecher. So what Gina was saying was, now everything you can just order it online. If you need to get something, you can have it shipped straight to your house. So your speed shop, was there anywhere else around here to go get parts, or did people?
I had it all, and I could get everything the next morning.
Okay.
I could call it in this evening, and they'd have it at my door the next morning as soon as the UPS truck run.
Really?
Yeah. I got my parts out of Dayton all the time.
So
there wasn't cell phones.
No.
So why did people want to go elsewhere if you was around? I mean, they didn't want you to know what they was getting for their car. Didn't know what you wanted to have it under the hood. They said, "Well,
keep it hid till they can sneak something on somebody."
I was gonna say if we went down there to Beecher, go tell everybody. Said, "Now you need to watch out for them old boys. They got something a little spicy under there, huh?"
Yeah.
I tried to help everybody out. I charged a lot of merchandise there to them, and I got paid for everything I sold though.
Okay. Now was your speed shop still around? Kelly, did you ever go over to Beecher's?
I was gonna say
that
the
before his
building
time.
was there, but
okay.
Ken never growed up, man.
No.
He was still in diapers, and now I am.
That's a good one.
He grew out of them, and I grew into them.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, truth's true.
It's the way it goes.
Well, Beecher, tell us. So when did you? We had talked. So Kelly, you kind of got out of the 460 Street Racers in '97. Is what you were saying. You were in it for about right at 15 years, 13, 14 years. So Beecher, how long did you try to race with the boys over at 460 before you kind of tapered off? Did you go with them all the way up until?
When was it, Kelly?
I would say
you got my Camaro sometime.
Yeah, he was still, him and Fat Scarlin was floating in there all the time because even though they wasn't racing, they was there.
Right.
They was all most of the time. Like I said, when Apple Day, a holiday, or something like that, there was always some new fresh fish out there to try to catch, and they knowed it, so they'd show up.
That was the place to go.
Let's run out there and see what's happening. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
When I was telling that tale when I started about my uncle drag racing and me laying in that ditch there and getting the fever, I would guess that about that time was Beecher's prime in it, because he would have been around racing in that time, because my uncle was young.
Yeah, he was younger than me.
He was younger than Beecher.
What year you think that was?
Well, I don't think I was even 10 years old.
Okay.
I'm 58.
Well, I had that 78Z, the only thing I was going by, and he was probably 2 years old or 3.
And so he was racing whenever I was at McLeod's.
Right.
Laying in the ditch. He was probably up there racing with them guys
I was there with
that
him all the
night
time.
and didn't even, I didn't know him at the time, but I knew the name.
Now we had talked about this a little earlier. I don't know if we had actually touched on this or not. So did you guys ever meet on the track? Did you guys ever run them?
Oh, yeah.
Ever, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we
Well,
raced.
you have to remember, I'm a little ignorant on this stuff. So tell me, what was? I mean, was there one that stands out to you? Was
Well,
there,
no, I mean, it's just, we'd always try each other, whether win, lose, or draw. And a lot of times if you was done something different to your car,
Yeah.
and you knowed somebody that had something that they could bring out and run against you, and you could see if you improved or not.
Right.
That was always a go-to. You could call and say, "Hey, Beecher, come out and run me, and let me see if
Yeah.
I'm doing any
See
better."
what he'd done to his car.
Oh, okay.
Didn't matter. He'd outrun me anyway.
All right. Now, who won the most?
He did.
No
I never
question.
did outrun him.
Never once.
Not once. You got to be able to take defeat if you get out there and do street racing. Now, plain and simple, or you'll spend every penny you make. Because there's somebody like that
Everywhere.
They just beat you enough to make you think, I can beat him next time.
Just
I can
like
beat him next
easy.
time."
Just like easy.
Just beat you enough to make you think you can do better next time.
Now, as far as you can remember, Beecher, was Kelly about the fastest one down there at 460? He was the.
They ain't no doubt.
Nobody else.
That,
Well, it's only
that
because-
bottle talks, buddy.
It's only because Easy wouldn't run.
Yeah.
Now, you said Easy beat you. It was the
He
Regal,
did.
you said, right?
Yeah.
That you was racing in, and he.
Yeah, the
he,
Regal was a pretty quick little street car.
That was
and-
after the race was over, though.
Yeah, there wasn't nobody around. Easy was just going home. There wasn't no race to it, though.
Well-
he just, gone.
So if Easy would have got out there, he probably would have
I
been a
think-
competitor.
I think he would have.
We'd say. Now, after you, because I'm trying to piece this together, because I think like I said, we may have people that have never heard anything about 460. So, who was next in line after you? Who was the next fastest? Who was the one to beat, other than Kelly Conley?
Well, it was always them Curry boys. They was fast. They'd come over there. Now listen, don't think that I didn't ever get beat. I mean, I had a fast car.
Sure.
But if you pick on people, you will get beat.
Ain't
You'll
no
find
doubt.
one that's faster out there.
Now where were the Curry boys from?
They was from Williamson, West Virginia, and they was fast. Them boys, them Owens boys, when they would bring them cars in from Columbus, they had fast cars. They just would tear them up before we'd ever get
Just
to
get out
run
and
'em.
act like a pure idiot there, burning the road up before
They
it's got
would.
time to race.
They'd blister the tires off of them, tuning and working on them, and then either throw a drive shaft out, bust a pinion, have a flat. It's something.
Sure.
They're just wild.
But
Now-
every now and then that little Asian guy that would come in with them, I don't know who he was, but he didn't tear his up. He raced and he was fast.
Oh, really? But he'd keep it pretty. He wouldn't go too wild, huh?
No, he was. Well, they was all pretty wild, but that's
Now-
just the way they was.
Now, before that, we started racing out on 460, like we said, we done it right out here. At,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Davis Market.
Davis. Yeah, Davis.
And Wendell Margaret had a bad 67 Camaro with a 427. It done real good. And he drove another car for his buddy, Danny Bowens. Then no Challenger.
Yeah.
340, and it built out the ear, so it done a real job. And then
What did Fats run? He
had
was a
that-
Dodge boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had that old
Dart.
Dodge. What was it, Bainey? It was a Duster, and Vince Ratliff had the Demon. Or
Okay.
not Vince, maybe his brother, that other Ratliff. But anyway, we run out there all the time, and that's where we done all the running there till getting started out on that there. And then we had Wendell's Camaro. This fella come in from Michigan, Lester Meeks. He had a big bad Mopar. You couldn't do nothing with him, Mopars. He had, I guess he had a bottle. They called it nitromethane. He run Wendell once in that Camaro, and Wendell thought that Camaro was bad.
Yeah.
So I mean the Challenger. So we went home and got Wendell's. He run Billy Adams that night with Billy's little Chevy too,
Oh yeah.
and he cussed real big and said, "I don't care what happens." He said, "The first man across the line's the man. First is the man that gets
Yeah.
the money." So got ready to run. He killed his on the line,
Oh no.
and Billy said, "I can outrun him anyway. He wouldn't let me pay.
Yeah.
He wouldn't take the money. He thought he was bad, but." The next time when they got ready to take off, son, Billy was sitting there in that Roadrunner was halfway through before he ever started rolling. And then we went to
Smoked him.
Syersville. We went plumb to Syersville down on the Mountain Parkway that next night.
Yeah.
And Lester was going to run Wendell. He just got that Camaro running with the 427 in. It was a good car. And he smoked Wendell. Wendell tore bottom radiator hose off and spun all the way through the quarter. And that fella come up to him and said, patted him on the back and said, "You got a good run car, buddy." I figured it'd be a fight, but it wasn't. It would have pissed me off, and if somebody had patted my back and told me I had a good run car after they'd half-tracked me.
You'd have been reaching for that 45.
Yeah, buddy.
Now,
Had to grow out of that there.
now, Beecher, a minute ago, you had said whenever you got there, we talked about the Owens boys. I don't think you ever told us the story about what happened with the Owens boys. I don't think you.
They had their car tore up by the time I got out there.
So you never.
They didn't have nothing to run.
There wasn't no story there.
Okay, well that makes sense why you didn't tell us nothing then. Okay.
There wasn't nothing happened.
I was curious. Gina looked over at me. She said, "What happened with the Owens boys?" And I said, that's a good
It
question.
didn't happen.
Not a
They'd
thing.
already tore their car up when I got there. My poor old mom lived right where I had to turn in my driveway, right beside her house. And son, she'd stay awake to her 75 years old or something. Yeah, close to 80 years old, and she'd stay awake till I pulled back in the driveway every night. Wanting to know, "How'd you do last night?" She'd ask me the next morning. She supported me on the racing. She didn't go against it at all.
And every time you had to go back and tell her Kelly Conley beat you
Kelly busted
again.
my hide. If I got to where I didn't run him all the time, I had a little bit of sense.
So, Beecher, we talked to Kelly and Benny here. Kelly told us some great stories. Once again, Gina's the one who helped make a lot of this possible, and she's the one who had, part of the idea to make this, to kind of get these stories and tell them. Beecher, did you know Kent Rose?
Yeah. I never had no dealings with him, but I knew who he was.
Okay, so you never actually dealt with him in person, but you.
No, the only first time I seen Kent Rose, he was down at Clay City. We kind of had our back turned, and we heard the awfulest thing go through the quarter mile that ever was, and it was Kent Rose in a little old Chevy too, and had tarp straps holding the hood down on it. The awfulest piece of junk it ever was. But man, it would absolutely scorch the earth. You remember seeing it, Ron?
I did.
I hope we can find a picture of that somewhere.
They'd tell him load it up and take it to the house. They wouldn't let him run the second time.
Why not?
He was so, son, he didn't have no safety, nothing. Nothing, not a thing. He was just, I probably didn't even have a seatbelt. He was just wild, buddy.
He's just running. So
He had a fast truck, though.
What's that now? East Kentucky Ingenuity, said Gina.
Now,
Okay.
she was talking about Greg Rowland earlier.
Okay.
He's my son-in-law's brother.
Okay.
And the first arm drop, he come in second. Because the boy from Richmond had the Mustang.
Yeah.
And whenever Greg got up there, he'd outrun his brother. First time they'd ever run, they said. But whenever he got up there ready to run the Mustang for the finals, his alternator went out and he didn't get to run. So that fella from Richmond beat him.
Oh.
Didn't have to run him.
Stuff like that happens. I don't care how good you are, how much money you spend.
That's right.
A fuse can blow or a wire can short, and there you go.
Break a radio,
a belt.
belt, just any little thing. It don't take nothing to put you out.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know just how. I guess whenever you get these cars and you're running them about as hard as you can,
Well, I reckon that's
something,
what they're for.
right? Like something simple can just go wrong, and then it puts you off track. Because when I was down here at the arm drops last year, there was all kinds of, the Hoskinsons, they had a deal where they were, and I don't know the specifics of it.
Failures.
Gina could tell you more about it, but
What was it?
Little failures, little things like that.
Oh,
that
it
go
don't
wrong.
take nothing to put you
derail
out.
you, yeah.
You got to have them in good condition to run something like that.
Now that was it, because we had it was Billy Hoskinson was running his Nova, and they actually put a video out about it on YouTube, and the title of the video was "Risking It All for the Arm Drop Drags." And because one thing, we got a good picture of Billy too, and Beach. I don't know if you know the Hoskinsons, you probably don't, but they're a group of guys from up in Ohio, and they do a bunch of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they came down here and race, and they knew Kent really well. Billy's father did. But they put out a video, and it said "Risking It All for the Arm Drop Drags." And I don't know what you saw last year, Beecher, but for the arm drops, we had a trophy, and it was called the Kent. And it was like the Wally, but it was Kent Rose, doing his arm drop deal. And we got a cool picture of Billy after he had won that race. About destroyed the Nova, You said it, wasn't it? Had a cracked head. So, but he wanted to run that last race. It was. I think he had done it on the race before that, the last pass, and so they had to take a little bit extra time to try to figure everything out. But he had won that trophy. He ran it there and won and everything. And we got a cool picture of him looking down at it. So it's interesting to know for the people that don't race very often, or the people that race very often but don't understand what these guys go through out here in these conditions. That any little thing can completely derail you at the last second.
Oh yeah.
So, did you ever have what's your most heartbreaking story, Kelly? You got one?
No, I had pretty good luck for some reason. I don't think I had issues like that. I would always work all week to try to tune mine and get it all ready and make sure that I didn't have that problem, because if you're going to be man enough to get up there and spit out that you can outrun somebody, you don't want something little. You don't want something little like that making you mess up.
Right.
But it does happen.
Sure.
It does happen.
Beecher, anything ever happened to you that you was
I just done pretty good. I never done much here with my good car. I just had that old Camaro that I didn't care to tire up.
Okay. Now, Gina wrote down here you've got a 69 Nova that you used to race in Michigan?
I done it away from here. I didn't do it here.
He bought it brand new.
I bought it new in 69. It was a big 396, 375 4-speed.
Okay.
Rubber floors, bench seats, radio delete. I've still got it. 22,000 miles on it.
Still got it?
I bought it in 69, brand new.
Well, you better give us a picture of it. We better show the audience, son. They'll be tore up. They don't see one.
I've got it.
All right. Why didn't you race it down here?
He just
my wife
didn't get it
didn't
out.
want me to tear it up. I had other stuff I could play with,
That's
and
fair.
I didn't have to tear my good car up.
So what made Michigan so good?
That's all I had. They had some bad stuff up there now, buddy.
I guess so.
Well, you're in Detroit, son. You had a better run when you're in Detroit.
Okay.
It wasn't nothing to see a 427 Nova in Detroit, and you didn't see none of them around here.
Well, I guess that makes sense because right there, a lot of that
Well,
stuff
right there
was.
where it's all
I was
at,
going to say it
buddy.
was all built back in Detroit, right? So
Them old Hemis, best thing I ever run up against was a daggone 446 pack. They was the strongest running thing on the street that
That's
there
what
was
them
back
Owenses
then.
had.
Yep.
They always run them 446.
okay. Now, what years were you racing up in Detroit?
Early 70.
Early
late
70s.
69s and early 70s.
So this was before
My car
you.
was brand new.
Okay, right. That's what you said. Okay, so this was before you made it to the 460 Street Racers.
Yeah, that's way later in life.
Okay, all right. So, well, tell us. Now we got to go to Detroit for just a minute. Now we'll come back to 460, but we got to tap into this Detroit stuff. What's about the best story you've got from your time?
And we
up?
run out there at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, just south of it. There was a street that went out through there and just dead end about a mile down the road. Didn't have no traffic, no nothing. Had a valley ditch on each side and that big old fence with the wire on top of it, barbed wire on top of it. So it's just a good place to run. The lodge come out there and watch us. And just as long as they wanted a beer bottle or a beer can, son, they wouldn't bother us. We could race all night.
Really?
I even seen a real dragster on it out there one night.
On the street?
Yeah, on the street. Buddy, they just condoned it.
Right.
I don't know what, it wasn't Woodward, I don't reckon, but it was right up to in same competition where Woodward Avenue was.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's big time racing. Anything he brought. A lot of fun. It's clean racing, though.
Right.
Didn't have no idea who you was going to run.
Well, now you talking about the arm drive. So, Beach, are we going to see you at the arm drive this year?
Well, I hope.
You going to come down and hang
I
out with
ain't
us a
going to
little bit?
run nothing out of, but I'll be there.
You sure?
I might bring my old rat rod. I've got an old rat rod there, but I don't know what kind of class I'd want to put it in.
Well, we can, just
It don't weigh much. It ought to run pretty good, but I don't know. I've give it up.
You don't think you'd go out there and hit the track against Kelly just for old time's sake?
What? If you want, well, yeah, we could do that just
we could.
for fun. I wouldn't care a bit to do that just for the fun. I never did run for any money. Never did run one race for $1.
That's probably, by the sounds of it was probably a good decision.
You remember when I run Robbie Burchett out there that night? He had the fastest car supposedly around when I got that Camaro out and going.
Yeah.
And I wanted to run him, so see, I got my car run. And all they talk about money. I said, well, I've got enough money in my pocket to burn you. I said, but I don't want you to have none of it, and I don't want none of yours. I'd making pretty good money back then, so I probably had $5,000 or more in my pocket. So I just...
You just kept it in your pocket.
I was going to keep it in my pocket, and I didn't want none of his. I didn't need none of his money.
Fair.
It was just pure fun.
Now, Kelly, you had mentioned sometime on the last podcast, you had said something about... did you say you won a car in pink slips?
Yeah, I didn't ever race for no money. There's a lot of people bet money on us whenever we'd be out there racing, but I didn't bet myself, and I guess that was probably the the time that it really did pay off was I won a couple cars.
Now, I think you told us. I think you told us about one, but you say I was going to say you won a couple.
Yeah, they give us one, the one that we was supposed to race from Boston. That guy didn't show up, so they give us that car. They give us the title and a picture and told us we could go and get it, but we just kind of figured that by the time we got there, they'd probably just have it gutted and be a wasted trip.
Right.
So we said, well, that's great and all, but we didn't come here to get one that way. We want to race and win one. So they set us up with another guy, Joey Dole from London. Actually, I'm good friends with him now, and he'll be here at the arm drop.
Okay.
But me and him raced, and I beat him. And then at the end of that show, they kind of that's when they ask you if you want to thank any of your sponsors and whatever. And when they did, instead of thanking sponsors, we just said, we want to run that guy in the Nova. So they said, well, we ain't never done that before. We'll try it out. And they went over and asked him, and Steve, he accepted. He said, sure, absolutely. And we raced him and won that car too, the same night.
Really? So
Yeah.
so just to make sure we recap here. So what were the two cars that you won? The makes and models of
A
them?
Nova and a Mustang.
You want a Nova and Mustang? Okay, so we
And
talked.
they give us a Camaro. We're never going to get it.
Okay.
Me and Ashley Wheeler
Yeah.
from Lovettsville, Virginia.
Mhm.
Me and him real good buddies, and he's the one that got me hooked up with the Pink Skies.
Well, he was in the last arm drop, wasn't he?
Yeah. Did Ashley come to the last one? No, I don't think he come to the last one. He talked about it, but no,
I thought he did.
he had got sick in that COVID. He got COVID real bad.
Mm.
He like to died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lord. Well, now, so Gina was telling me. So this was a TV show.
Yeah.
Pinks.
Pinks.
So I've never heard of it. Tell
You
me.
signed you signed your title and mailed it to them, and when they received it, then they said, "Oh, they'd call you up and they said, okay, now we own your car. Show up, whatever the date was they give you, and you can race. And if you win it back, and if you lose, you lose it. You know,
Really?
so
and where'd you have to go to?
all over, just wherever they was holding the race at.
So where'd you win the Nova at?
Kansas City, Missouri.
No joke. Huh. And
That's the car that I'll have down here at the arm drop.
So you're bringing the Nova this year?
Yeah.
All right. So guys, if you're coming out to the Arm Drop Dragz, the Heroes and Legends down here this year at Combs Airport, are we technically in Hager Hill? All right, we're in Hager Hill, Kentucky. In case nobody knows, I'm sure the people watching this know probably have a good idea where we are. But if you come out to the Arm Drop Dragz, make sure you look out for Kelly's Nova. And so now, Beecher, you said if you come down to the arm drop, you said you're going to try to bring a car down here for us?
I don't know where we will or not. It's all according to how I feel. I don't know.
Okay, I
I'm
understand.
about retired on all that stuff.
It's hot.
I've had cancer for the last 4 years, so I
Sure.
just ain't been into much of anything other than
understand.
trying to live.
I understand. I totally understand that. Well, listen, we hope the good Lord above allows you to be here with us.
Amen.
We'd
That's
love
the
to have
only
you with
reason
us.
I'm here now. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're glad you sat down and talked with us here. But now, we're going to wrap things up here just shortly. We've been running here for about an hour, give or take. But, one thing I do want to ask you, though, Beecher, is there any of the 460 people that you saw back in the day that you want to see out here at Combs?
I don't know who any of them are anymore. They're about everybody's gone my age.
Okay.
Baney's about the only one. Them Kessner boys, they're all gone, ain't they? So Baney's about the only one. Him and Kelly's the only two that's left of what run out there, and me.
Yeah.
And I ain't into competition at all. I'm out of the competition.
No? Okay. Well, that's
I
fair.
guess there's a lot of them out there that, through the years, you lose your buddies.
Amen.
You'll lose them, and not just from death.
Sure.
It's just they go away and you go away and you ain't in the same area no more.
Disassociation.
Right.
So this might be a good time that we could get a lot of our buddies to show up, pop in and say, hey, remember me? We could kind of reminisce.
If
Yeah.
I get anything in my class, I wouldn't care to bring my old truck and run it.
Yeah,
Because it's a pretty good old truck. It
Yeah.
don't weigh about 1,600 pounds.
yeah,
So it's got that 406 in it.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
maybe.
They do that grudge race on Fridays, so there's a spot for you now. I think
spot for everybody. It looks to me like this time.
I think Baney said he was going to bring something down and put it in the grocery getter class last time.
Baney's dangerous, buddy. You don't know what he's going to bring. Whatever he brings, he'll be standing right on his back end going through there.
So we got to watch out for Baney, huh?
He's make a piece of junk run through the quarter.
Now, we was talking a second ago. You guys had mentioned that you guys did a lot of work on your all's own cars.
Well, yeah.
So why did you have to work on your uncle? Why couldn't you take it to nobody?
They couldn't do nothing that you couldn't already do better.
So you just had to figure it out yourself,
Well, you'd
huh?
fix it yourself. They wanted all them electronics on back in. You put it together and they'd either run or not.
Really, that was the whole goal. It wasn't that you could afford to go and pay somebody
Sure.
to make your car fast. You was that little boy that wanted to be the one that done it, not
Yeah.
go buy something that was already fast.
All right.
You'd want to get something and make it better.
Yeah, I overhauled my first engine. I think I was 14 years old. I
Yes.
overhauled a V8 Chevrolet back then. That's in probably 64. So didn't have nobody to help me. I was
When you couldn't afford to
no.
pay
My
people
dad
to do
died
it.
when I was 10 years old, so we had to do everything for ourselves.
Sure.
Didn't have no money. We raised tobacco for a little bit of cash crop for a little money to survive. But we was raised pretty hard, but we lived good.
Oh yeah. Now, it's not like today, right? Like today, you see a lot of people out here, big souped up car. They'll take it somewhere and get it souped up.
Got money to
They don't.
burn, son.
But
Yeah.
not.
Well, and then it's just that they can't afford to pay somebody to do it nowadays. The money, things didn't cost as much back then,
Sure.
but the way times is now, it's just easier. Most of the people's not. I mean, there's still some old diehard racers out there that build their cars and run their cars.
Right.
But most cases, you'll see somebody taking them to a tuner, and whoever that guy is behind that computer, he's the smart
He's the
man
man
to
in
make
the
it go
crowd.
fast.
Right. But there's a different type of satisfaction about doing it
Well,
yourself,
yeah.
huh?
Oh, yeah, and especially when it's muscle or something like that, where you turn the wrench to make it,
Right.
the one in the front, that's what keeps you going.
That's when they ride that old Camaro out there. Everybody thought I said $1,300 in the whole car,
Yeah.
and everybody thought, how in the world did you ever get to run like that with no more money than that in it?
Yep. Tricks.
You just had to know what you was doing, know where to put your dollar.
Get the right combination of parts, throw them
But
together.
I didn't know what a bottle was, though. He took me to school.
Now, going back to speaking about what a bottle was now, talking about people that just worked on their own vehicle over and
Yeah.
over. Kelly, tell us a little bit about about Kent Rose, and you said a minute ago that Kent brought down just the awfulest piece of work that they'd ever seen down there in Clay City.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, I know Beecher probably can't talk about this too much, but Kelly, tell us a little bit about some of the different vehicles that Kent Rose had brought to light over the years that he had worked on.
Well, he had that little 69 Chevrolet pickup. He was always in something different. I guess where that him and them boys worked junkyard,
Sure.
they always had people coming in there bringing cars that not everybody would junk them. A specialty car is even, something that was an oddball. They bring a Camaro or a Nova, a Chevy 2 in there. It didn't matter if the fenders was beat off of it. They fixed it
Right.
and throw a little nitrous on it. Some big motor with a lot of horsepower or whatever. There's always something different. Kent didn't just have I always just lived off of nitrous. That was a fast, easy horsepower. You could put it on anything and make a big improvement.
Right.
Yeah, we changed cams, heads, done all that stuff, but I'd always try to stay with something low compression so I could just feed it a lot of bottle.
Right.
You know,
And then let the nitrous do the work.
Yeah, and you always stressing stuff. You'll stress it to no end, but you just keep adding, and you'll find the limit.
Right.
Cheapest horsepower you could find.
It was.
Now, because Banny was telling us last time, so I'm, you guys have to remember, I'm, relatively new to the racing scene. So, Too, for the people that don't know, we'll just refresh them here a little bit. So Baney said something you could get what was it, Baney? It was a 1, and it would add 100 horsepower?
Yeah, 100 shot.
100 shot, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would add 100 horsepower to it. And then they started making them where you could change the jets in them and adjust that power.
Okay.
So you could give it a little more fuel, a little more of this, a little more. You just change those jets and you could up your horsepower or lower it.
Gotcha.
They had that 250 shot.
And then
that
they had
really
a
done
250, it had bigger solenoids, and
Okay.
then you just kept right on going up. You could stack them kits too.
Stack them?
Yeah, you could stack them. You could put two 250s or 150 and just run that 150 down low, and then once you got up in high gear, flip them both on and shoot 250 to it on the other end up there whenever
Okay.
you'd start falling away.
That's the way these cars on the Street Outlaws.
Yeah.
A lot of them have 3 shots.
Really?
3 different systems on it.
Wow.
And they'll all come in by the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so
Back
it's
then,
Everything's on the
you had to do it
computer.
all.
Ours come in by we hit another button.
You had to do it yourself. It
Yeah.
wouldn't just automatically kick in when it needed to.
Yeah, you had to keep yourself together, keep
Okay.
on the road, and reach down there and grab another switch.
Yeah, and if it was a spinning, you didn't want to get that other
No.
bottle going on you.
No, you didn't want that bottle if it was already spinning on you. You had to wait until you got a little traction.
Did Kent, did he ever have like the ultimate sleeper car? Was there something somebody's? Now I feel like I heard something once upon a time he had an S10 or something like that. Is that
Oh
right?
yeah, he had a little S10, and it didn't look fast, but man, it was
It's smoke, huh?
fast. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's real fast.
Yeah. I think it had nitrous on it too.
I know
Oh,
it
did
did.
Did you ever- Pete,
And see, back then, everybody, it wasn't a car show that you was coming to.
right.
You didn't want people looking under your hood.
No,
Right.
whenever I had my Nova out, I had a little old cable that, like aircraft cable with
Sure.
the plastic over top of it. I had the ends around and put together, and I had a little padlock hanging down there on it. Nobody couldn't get my hood up.
Yeah, because they'd walk around and they'd just look at your motor and see
Right.
what you had before that you'd go to racing. You didn't want to let them know all
And they
you
might
had.
pull a plug wire off it and change them or something.
That'd
where
be
it
like playing
mess you up.
cards. Laying your cards out there
Well,
for
yeah.
everybody to look
Let them
at.
know what you had before they had to play against
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah. I, that does make sense. You know, I know for the people that aren't in the racing community, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this probably are, but I guess it does make sense. You want to keep your hand
Well,
close
that's
to
the
you.
reason everybody thought my car was so fast, because I kept that hood locked down. They couldn't tell what was under it.
Okay, so
I didn't let anybody see under my hood.
so there was just stories floating around saying, "Now Beecher Frazier's got something
Well, I know
special."
everybody said I had a 427 in it, but I didn't.
Oh,
They said a fool
Yeah.
behind the wheel.
There was rumors he had nitrous, but he was all muscle.
right.
He didn't
So-
run nitrous.
I never did not use it. Never.
Was there a reason why you didn't use it?
I just old school.
You just wanted to keep it
Old
classic.
school,
I
raw
see.
muscle.
I see it. Okay. So then when you beat somebody with nitrous, it made you feel real good, then, huh?
Oh yeah, it wasn't no problem unless it's Kelly. He's the nitrous king, buddy. He's the one that knowed what to do. He had it since he got out of his diaper, I think.
Yeah.
I was going to say now they said back on the last one that Kelly he had ran across
He was
nitrous
the
early
nitrous king, buddy.
I
He's the man that had the bottle.
eat a
That'll work.
lot of it.
on. That'll work. So, well, Beach, I tell you, we're going to wrap up here just in a little bit, man. I don't want to keep you boys too awful long. You got any other good stories for us here?
Yeah, not now.
No, come on now. I know you got something under
No,
the
I
hood.
just run mine all the time away from here.
That's fair.
When them boys go to the drag strip, when they come back, I'd take the top dog and I'd run him and beat him usually.
Okay.
My wife didn't want me to take mine to the drag strip. I don't know. That was all I had to drive. She didn't want me tearing it up.
Well, and if you take into consideration, it's a 69.
Yeah.
It's got 22,000 miles on it since 69. That's,
That's pretty good.
yes. It's been, it's
I
been
mean,
in the
except for
garage.
12 years once, never had it started. It went 12 years sitting in my garage with the carburetor off it and the spark plugs out of it. And it's been 8 years since I'd had it running again, and I started it up last week one day.
Really?
Started like it should.
Well, now I can't wait to see a photo of it. I'm all excited now. You got me looking forward to it. Because I love a Nova.
I do too.
That's one of the prettiest looking cars. I think honestly, hey, look, I was gonna say, you gonna pull one up for us here?
It'd take me a minute. I'm slow. I'm old.
You may have to give us just 1 second. We got to look at Beecher's Nova. We can't over here behind the desk and the producer's side of the table. We can't be all excited about this. Now Kelly's probably seen it, I'm sure, a time or two.
Oh, I've
I
seen it.
doubt it.
No,
Have you?
I've seen it.
Oh, have you? Oh,
I've
yeah,
seen-
when I head down to
Yeah.
fuel stop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I just always tried to take care of it. It was a good old car.
What color was it?
Rally green.
Rally, golly.
You know what color that is?
I've heard tell.
That's a real brilliant green.
Right, that's like you know, you can't miss it, huh? Oh yeah. You guys can't see this on camera
Put
now.
that in front of the camera for This is one of the cruise ins down at Paintsville, and
Here.
they asked me not to come back.
Flip it back to me here. Let's see here.
They put me up to doing it, and then they asked me not to come back. And then that one where it's got the hood up on it, that's where I started up last week.
Yeah, so I don't know how well this area is going to translate over on camera, but you guys can see it. We're going to throw an actual good photo of it up here in just a minute. But I just want to show you guys just real quick, because I just wanted to kind of...
I've got some good pictures of it somewhere.
That's a beauty now, I tell you.
But that's the same. That's it right there, buddy. That's
Yeah, no, he's got one right here where you flipped it up. Look here. Oh, well, we can't show what's under the hood. That's right, I forgot. Okay.
I don't
We
care.
got to keep it.
I don't
no.
run anybody now.
You never know. You never know. It may end up on the track. We got to keep it to ourselves
No,
now.
it won't. Yeah, it's really too valuable to put out there and tear it up.
The intrinsic value of it, aside from money value of it, I mean, Lord have mercy, it means too much to you if you've had it ever since '69.
It was
right?
55, the 15th day of April.
Well, I guess it is true. I was over here trying to do the math on it, so it's 55 years old.
55,
So.
the 15th April.
Oh, yeah.
Should have had it a birthday party.
Well, if you ever decide to get it out, we'll make sure we put some candles around it. Not on it, but, you know, just somewhere in the general vicinity. We'll go find us a couple. Well, Kelly, you got anything else to throw in here just on the tail end? Or, look here, he's got it. Hold that up there to the microphone.
That's a big block. Solid lift cam.
Solid lifters are over here in Rattle.
You can't.
That's a 396, 375. Dead stop. Still got the original carburetor and everything on it to come on it. I took care of it, buddy.
I guarantee it.
I had it and my wife longer than I had anything else in my life.
Now, listen, for you guys back home watching, the people that are listening, I guess, the people that weren't watching, you couldn't hear a word he was saying over the sound of the engine now. It was an absolute beauty.
It still got the original muffler on it, and it's 69 model.
No joke.
No joke.
Even up in Michigan, you didn't catch nothing, no rust or nothing under them?
Well, a little bit.
But not.
I didn't stay long enough.
I was going to say you didn't keep it out
You hit and run.
in the elements, yeah, because I know a lot of vehicles that come from up north and stuff, they have a lot of
I
issues
didn't
with rust.
stay long enough for it to eat it up like that.
Okay.
I just stayed part of a winter.
So you just run it up to Michigan and then just run it
I
right
went
back?
up there and I worked a couple months or 3 months or something up there, and I just got out and played while I was there.
Okay. What'd you do up there?
I worked for Dana Corporation in Trenton, Michigan.
Okay. Now, so I guess Trenton, is that nearby Detroit, I guess?
Just south of Detroit.
Just south of Detroit, okay. Because, I got a lot of family up in Michigan.
And I worked in Wyandotte at
Wyandotte, I was going to say.
chemicals place. I can't think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of the
That's
place.
fine.
It's been 58 years ago.
I guarantee you a lot of people watching this podcast or listening to it, either one, are going to have a boatload of family up in Michigan. You know that I didn't know this. Just outside of Detroit, there's a little town called Taylor, a little suburb.
Yeah,
they
I
call
lived there once.
They call it Taylor, Tucky, because everybody up there is from Kentucky. So that's what that. So see, I got family up there from Riverview,
Wyandotte and Riverview.
right? Wyandotte, Riverview, right
Wyandotte
there,
was
side
on one
by
of the
side.
street and
Exactly.
Riverview was on the other.
Exactly.
And I had a cousin lived out there at Taylor.
Exactly. So Taylor, Tucky makes sense. All right. So, guys, if you're watching this and you're from Taylor, Tucky, you're from anywhere, you know anybody from Taylor or just the surrounding areas of Detroit, I guess a lot of people went up there. They left here from the mines and went up there to go work in the factories.
Back
right?
in the 50s.
And there was just more jobs, right?
That's when my uncle went up there about 55, and all his boys worked in the steel mills, McLeod Steel and
Yeah.
some of them places like that. Yeah, about everybody worked for Ford Motor.
Right. Exactly.
Woodhaven stamping plants where most of them went to
Yeah.
up there.
And that's what I'd heard, that back then, because I was like, well, how in the world are a bunch of people? Because my mother was born in Michigan. Father was born in Michigan, mother was born in Michigan, both of them. And then they both ended up back here.
Yep.
And what it was their family was from here originally and went up to Michigan and then came back.
You just go up there and work long enough to get you a little money in your pocket and come back home.
A little bit of folding money.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, listen here. I hate to cut us off now, but you guys got anything else to add
No.
on here? I think this one here was a beauty. Beecher, we appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us now, sir.
Anytime, buddy.
Now, listen, if you get any more stories, you're going to call us, right? You're going to come down here and tell some more tales.
You just have to holler. I've got them all all night tonight.
We'll have to go up and have a little party over Beecher's
Maybe have me
house.
some notes today.
Look here now. He wrote them down.
I didn't
wondering.
get to use them all, but
I was going to say, you was back there ruffling around. I was wondering what you
I'm
had back
trying to
there.
be easy, not get carried away, and I didn't want to take control of everything.
Well, now look, real quick here,
No.
before we close it off now you've done went and whipped out the list on us. Now, is there one story on there you want to just tell us real quick here before we end it off? Don't be shy.
No, we've had cars from everywhere that run down there at McLeod's. We had the boys that like to run at Clay City on the drag strip.
Sure.
They'd bring them up there, haul them in here on the one of the old notchback trucks, roll them off over there at Chicks and take them down there and run them. Son, we had some fast cars. You remember the Speed Freak?
Yes.
Randy Ross? So we had some good cars. Dord Fraley, he brought an old Camaro in there, didn't even have a radiator in it. Didn't have a water pump on it. But it was real cold, and he'd run it through the quarter and have to take his credit card and scrape the inside of the windshield, scrape ice off of it. Or he didn't have no heater or anything in it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how in the world does that work out?
Not very good.
Just long enough, though. Just good enough, huh?
Yeah, that Speed Freak, when he come in here to run Wendell Maggard, Wendell said, what do you think about Beecher? Can I outrun him? I said, no, you ain't got to change, Wendell. He said, anybody got a knife? He cut the belts off his car. Because that Speed Freak, it'd go just, every time he grabbed a gear, he'd raise front end about 3 foot. Oh, yeah, it's bad. Randy Ross from down at Greenup.
Yeah.
His daddy and everybody was from Black Gap, though, so everybody originated from Johnson County. Everywhere you'd go nearly.
They'd make it back, migrate home.
Well, yeah. We had the best good cars there were in the country, I thought.
Well, sounds like
It
it.
didn't matter what it was. You could go back home and we had bad cars here.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
But now the fastest car that ever come in here that I ever seen was Lester Meeks with that 446 back Roadrunner. Ram Chargers had done it. So it's bad news. One that run Wendell.
Yeah.
That's the best running car that I'd ever seen come in here on run on the street. But he was ready. Takes money to be ready, buddy, every time. And we didn't have a lot of money here. So we tried to run, this old saying, run what you brung.
Run what you brung. Now, we still do a race class like that up here now.
Yeah.
That's a fun one now to see what people come out with.
Well, the thing about that is we poor people in general around here. So
Well, sure.
you run what you brought, and if you got beat, you just tucked your tail and went to the house.
Right.
Didn't go spend every penny you get your hands on to build it back to where you could outrun them next week.
I'm thinking about, like, I want to see somebody show up in, like, just an old Chrysler Pacifica or something like that, just.
Well,
Just-
you're dreaming.
Well, guys, listen, I don't want to keep y'all here too much longer, okay? I appreciate y'all. Now, one of these days we'll tap into that list there, Beecher, and we'll
I'll be back.
We'll hear the rest of these stories you
I've
got there.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely. We enjoyed
I'm
having
an
you.
old man. I'm getting above about it, but I can't quit.
And I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things in the world, just sit and listen to somebody tell stories.
I can't quit. I just do the best I can.
Well, it just keeps
But I've got
creeping
that
back
old rat
around.
rod now. It runs pretty good, but I don't care if it tires up.
Okay.
Ain't got nothing invested in it.
Well, we may have to look at it here one of these days. We may have to see it down here at Combs. So,
I'll try
Kelly,
to get out.
you got anything to add on here for us toward the end here? or
How's it?
You think you're all good to go?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, Kelly,
He's
appreciate
always
you.
ready with the bottle, son. What are you talking about?
I asked him last time. I said, Kelly, are you going to come out here on the track? And he said, I'd run a duck. He said, it wouldn't bother me. He said, I'll run anybody out there who wants to come run against me. Hey, let him come on.
He always did.
So Kelly, once again, Kelly said, anybody that's out there looking, if you just want to walk into the danger zone, you can race Kelly Conley down here at Combs Airport on August 30th and 31st.
I hate that I've cut in on everybody's conversation, but I don't know.
Oh no, we love it down here. That's part of the fun is you cutting in and letting us know what you think about it. I mean, it's awesome. But well, guys, Beecher, we appreciate you coming back out once again, Mr. Beecher Frazier. Appreciate his time down here at Combs Airport. Kelly
Glad to
Conley,
be here.
absolutely. Kelly, we appreciate you coming out again for us
Yeah,
again.
buddy.
Hopefully, we can find us another couple. I don't want to call them victims, but
Yeah.
but hopefully we can find us a couple more to come down here and hang out and speak with us. Now, guys, once again, just to kind of close us out here. We appreciate these guys for coming out and chatting with us. Shameless plug one more time just for the Arm Drop Dragz, Heroes and Legends 2024. We brought it back last year for the Arm Drop Revival 2023 down here at Combs Airport. It was an absolute blast. We had over 8,000 people down here. It was phenomenal. 2 days of absolutely sweltering fun. It was hot out there on the track now, I won't lie. Guys, be sure if you're planning on registering, go ahead and pre-register. That way we can get you a driver grab bag. If you want to come down here and you don't want to register, we get it. We understand you don't want nobody to know who you are, but we're not going to release the registration list, just so you know. It's just internal. That way we can get you T-shirt size and make sure we get you something kind of cool before you come down. But we are looking forward to having everybody out here at Combs Airport for the Arm Drop Dragz 2024 Heroes and Legends.
Well, you can get me a T-shirt anyway.
We'll get you a T-shirt, Beecher, 100%. We'll make sure we get you one. If Beecher don't show up, we'll make sure we get him a T-shirt.
There
But
you go.
we want to see him here if he can make it down. We'd love to have him down here. It's a toasty one, but hopefully
that
we
should
can
be about the time for my chemo again, though. So I
Okay.
don't know where I'll be able to make it or not.
Well, we totally understand, but like I said, we'd love to have you if you're feeling up to it and, you're around. But I'm sure we'll be seeing Kelly and the rest of the Conley family down here.
Yeah.
They'll be running around. So if you see them on the track, just Beecher said stay at home.
Yeah.
Or at least don't bring something to try to run him with. But, guys, we're going to close it out today. Once again, big shout out to the Kit Rose Foundation, Gina Rose, the Arm Drop Dragz. Benny Blair sitting back here. He hung out with us on this one, and we didn't have a mic on him. He wasn't able to butt in on us now. I know he was back there thinking, now.
Hey, he's just
Supervising.
He's just hanging out, huh?
Yeah, he's supervising.
Just keeping an
trying
eye
to
on.
see what kind of competition he's going to have to get into.
There you go. He had to make sure just to keep us all under control over here. So Benny's the watchkeeper back there. But
My son, him and his son can make them run.
now we heard some good stories last time. Now, so he said his son's hoping to get a car down here. Is what he said.
Good. He's supposed to be bad.
So we're looking forward to it. Well, guys, once again, appreciate y'all tuning in to the 460 Street Racers Heroes and Legends podcast down here at Combs Airport. Be sure to catch us out at the Arm Drop Dragz 2024, August 30th and 31st down here at Combs Airport. Labor Day weekend, just in case anybody messes it up like me, not Memorial Day weekend. So, hey, you guys have a fantastic day. Once again, appreciate Kelly Conley, Benny Blair, Beecher Frazier, Gina Rose. We got Andrew Reed over here producing the podcast over here. And once again, I'm your host, Dalton Stevens, for this one anyways. They may have me replaced by the next one. We'll never know. But, guys, we appreciate you coming out. Be sure to catch us back in the next one. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.